Hi everybody, Brother Paul here. Thank you for joining us today on this video message. A short one today, I think. Today I'm reading from Nehemiah chapter 4. Just want to give you a quick background of the story of Nehemiah. Nehemiah is one of those who came back from the Persian Empire and went back to Jerusalem. So he started, got a group of people, and they started rebuilding the wall. And when they started rebuilding the wall, there were opposition. The people there felt that what these people, Nehemiah and the returning Jews, did was foolish, and so they opposed Nehemiah and his team. And we pick up that passage, that short passage here in Nehemiah chapter 4, reading from verse 1. And I'm reading from the New American Standard Bible today. All right, so let's go. In Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 1, now it came about that when Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he became furious and very angry and mocked the Jews. He spoke in the presence of his brothers and the wealthy men of Samaria and said, "What are these feeble Jews doing? Are they going to restore it for themselves? Can they offer sacrifices? Can they finish in a day? Can they revive the stone from the dusty rubbles, even the burnt ones?" So this guy called Sanballat, who lived there, he got very angry because he didn't like the Jews. So when Nehemiah and his group start rebuilding the wall, he came and he basically ridiculed them. He really put them down, right? Says, "What are these feeble Jews doing? Can they finish in a day? Can they offer sacrifices?" Then verse 3 says, "Now Tobiah the Ammonite was near him, and he said, 'Even what they are building, if a fox should jump on it, he would break their stone wall down.'" So this guy called Tobiah, the Ammonite, is saying that even if they build the wall, a fox just jump and the whole wall will collapse. So not very nice words to Nehemiah and his team. Then verse 4, Nehemiah prayed, "Hear, O our God, how we are despised. Return their reproach on their own heads, and give them up for the plunder in the land of captivity. Do not forgive their iniquity. Let not their sin be blotted out before you, for they have demoralized the builders." So we built the wall, and the whole wall was jointed together to half its height, for the people had a mind to work. Later on, they finished the thing. Finish the wall. But I just want to stop there, and I just want to say this, that number one, we can take a few things out from this passage. In life, when we are trying to rebuild ourselves up, whether financially, whether rebuilding a business, rebuilding a family, or any area of our life, especially when it's been a long time, rebuilding can be hard. I've known friends who were involved in some addiction. They went for rehab, came back, and for a while they were okay, and then they fell back into error, and they fell back into addiction, and it's hard for them to start all over again. So I can understand that. And it's also hard if you, out of your foolishness, your life has just gone disarray, it's just gone kaput, and it's hard to rebuild. But guess what? God is into rebuilding. So first point is, it's hard to rebuild. Number two, God is into rebuilding. God always never give up on you, especially for believers, because you are a child of God. Your Heavenly Father will never give up on you. You may give up on situation, You may give up on business. You may give up on friends. You may give up on this or that. But your Father, your Heavenly Father, will never give up on you. Number 3, along the way, you may have opposition. Now, if it's already good if you start rebuilding and nobody opposes you. If people help you, that would be great. But those people who can help you and they don't and leave you alone, that's good. But those people who can help you, they don't, and they ridicule you, they put you down, they make fun of you, that is really tough. That is really difficult. And guess what? We don't have to do what Nehemiah did. Nehemiah says, Hear, O our God, how we are despised. Return their reproach on their own heads and give them up for plunder in a land of captivity. Jesus taught us that we were to love our enemy, pray for those who curse us, believe for the best for those who have hurt us. Maybe you have been hurt by friends. Maybe you have been hurt by people whom you trusted and they have betrayed you. They have played you out. They have said bad things about you. Guess what? Forget about them. If they don't want to come back and make peace, forget about them. Leave them alone. Focus on what God has called. And what you can do is this: forgive them. So instead of doing what Nehemiah did, pray that God will not take away their sin. He says that do not blot out this sin of theirs. Let us be like Jesus. Let us be like Stephen. Forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. But the next point I really want to make is this: when you face challenges in life, especially when you are rebuilding, when you face challenges in life, especially when you are rebuilding, when you're starting from zero again, when you are trying to rebuild a company, maybe you have passed the age of you started when you were 20, 30, had a very good run, out of neglect. When you're in the 40s, 50s, things went collapsed, went bankrupt, and then you're in your late 50s or early 60s and you start rebuilding your business. It can be difficult, it can be challenging, or even a ministry, or even a family. It can be difficult. The question therefore is, does it matter to you? See, a lot of people give up their rebuilding because, number one, they really don't care about it. They think, yeah, maybe I should try to do this. So they're really not convicted, not committed to that rebuilding. And when you're not committed and not convicted to their rebuilding, even though God is always interested in rebuilding, it will take you some time to get yourself down, settle, and says, this is of God. I need to do this. I need to work with God. I need the Holy Spirit to lead me. So I would like to advise you, if you are rebuilding, even though you make mistakes in the past, even though you have caused blunder, maybe it's not the first time, maybe it's quite a few times. Guess what? God is a God that forgives you, and God is a God that wants you and I to start rebuilding, not from zero, but on His finished work, Jesus' finished work. And therefore, you and I need to settle in our heart. And the title of today's video is Settle It in Your Heart. Even when people go against you, even when things are rough, even when challenges are huge, people tell you it's impossible. People tell you you don't have the finance. People tell you you are too old. People tell you you are too young. People tell you you don't have that connection. People tell you you don't have the qualification. Whatever people say, if it matters to you, it matters to God. And when you settle it in your heart that this is what God wants you to do, it doesn't matter whether anybody else believes in you. You believe in Jesus, and know this: Jesus always believe in you. I just want to read the last part. It says this. It says, so we built the wall, and the whole wall was jointed together to half its height, for the people had a mind to work. I want to ask you today, if you have gone through a bad patch, if you have lost a job, lost a business, lost your ministry, perhaps things have happened to your family, and you start today, you want to start rebuilding. I just want to encourage you this, that God is into rebuilding. God is into building you up. And when you do it, keep your eyes on Jesus. Forget about what people may say. Forget about what people may do. If they support you, good. If they come with some resources to help you and bless you, wonderful. But if nobody helps you out, if nobody support you financially, support you in resources, know this, the Holy Spirit in you, He will never give up on you, because He is into you and He wants to rebuild you. So today, settle it in your heart. Settle it in your heart, put your heart, your soul, your mind, and rebuild that life. And you know something? You are not alone, because when you set your heart to it, know this, God has already settled in His heart to help you, to love you, to guide you, to bless you, and make you even better than what you have been before. The Lord bless you. Father God, in Jesus' name, I pray for every person watching this video, that they will settle in their heart that you, O Lord, wants to build them up and rebuild, Lord, whatever has been broken, whatever has been lost. Because, Lord Jesus, you are always there, and you never leave us, you never forsake us. Father God, I pray for any person watching this video and they have been broken in one way or another, Lord, that you encourage them, Lord, that you comfort them, and Lord, that you help them to stand up and start rebuilding together with you, Holy Spirit. So the Lord bless you, the Lord keep you, His grace, His mercy, His strength be upon you to rebuild you up. The Lord's countenance, His goodness, His loving kindness be upon you. And everywhere you go, His shalom peace is there before, right in, and after you. In Jesus' name, God bless you. Bye-bye.